Russillo Show on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Darren Woodson's going to talk a little bit about the fight. He can't wait for it. I know it feels like we're doing a lot of this now. You know what? We're going to get to mostly all draft. Then we'll have NBA offseason, and then it'll be the All-Star game. And then we'll start picking up all this McGregor-Mayweather stuff again. But it is official this week. Randy Scott with us in studio.
You going to do a lot on the All-Star game?
I'm going to be there, so yeah.
Oh, nice. All right. Miami?
Yeah.
Nice.
What, do you have a problem with the Midsummer Classic?
I know how much you like talking baseball on the show. I wasn't sure.
I like baseball.
Yeah.
Let's play. Oh, we don't have the sound effect today. It's only when Adnan's around. No freeze pops. That's me. We didn't talk about that in the pre-production. Hey, Adnan's here. Get that button ready. Yeah. Baseball tonight's Adnan Verk. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, comparing rates to help you save. Now, that's Progressive. Call or click today and find out how much Progressive could save you. Reports about LeBron's future. We started the show with this. I'll give you the quickest recap of everything that I said, okay? And then we'll kind of get into it. One is, if you think he's leaving for L.A., do we really think it's in just a year when he can opt out? That would seem to be, based on the information that I've gotten the last couple of days, to be kind of quick, considering him staying with the Cavs in the East is still an easier path than just suiting up with the Lakers or Clippers, unless the Lakers and Clippers land it with the Lakers draft picks, or the Clippers figure out some other thing in free agency and they slide them all together, and he thinks that team in the West is superior to Golden State. As of right now, that doesn't seem super likely. I don't know that the other teams in the East in a year are positioned where he would actually want to join them. He's not going to Boston, not never, and I don't think he's going to the Knicks, depending on what happens there with Phil Jackson. Even that roster would have to be a lot better. I think it is attempting to go after Paul George, and if your resistance to the Cavs trading for Paul George is that they wouldn't trade for only 1 year of Paul George, somebody like Kevin Love, well, Kevin Love can opt out in 2 years. So the way it was explained to me, which actually made a lot of sense, it was just common sense, is if you think George is better than Love, you make the trade, you have George for a year, maybe it works out, and then all of a sudden you have Kevin Love in Indiana, and then you have George with you for a year, and if it works out and everybody seems to like it, then maybe he wants to re-sign, and then maybe even LeBron signs for another 1 or 2 years.
That's the thing. The longest deal that LeBron signed since he came back to Cleveland was the one that he's in right now, right? The 2-1 option, the player option. And LeBron's always going to have that player option, right? So, like you said, it's about what he's chasing and what he values, and it's rings and an easy path to the finals, which, as you say, is not going to be in the Western Conference. So why go West now?
Why in a year?
A year from now.
Like in a year, can you create a scenario where it's like, yep, that team with LeBron that's realistically put together can get past the Warriors in the playoffs? I don't know.
No, it's going to depend on if something falls apart with Steph Curry and the Warriors are not the Warriors as presently constructed, yeah, maybe. But I think getting a guy in Paul George, where would you put the likelihood at that?
Of the Spurs getting of
LeBron getting Paul George in this offseason?
The way I think George would do it in a second. George is always complimentary of LeBron. He even said this week at that weird thing where he said, like, I can't believe some of you Pacers fans are hitting us up. Like, this is crazy. You guys actually think you were in that series because the total points in the sweep weren't that close?
Number Fire's not watering that argument down. Number Fire tweeting today that was the closest, most competitive sweep in NBA history.
That's
four-game sweep.
That's like
4-game sweep.
The worst stat ever. You are like, you have the most phone numbers for any 50-year-old virgin. Like,
that's
congrats.
It's kind of like if Michael Phelps were to
no
race
offense
Usain.
Anyway, I mean, everybody live their life however you want to live it.
Sure. If Phelps were to race Usain Bolt, it's kind of like how that comparison was. I
can't believe, like, some of these Pacers fans are going, well, if we had, I mean, look, it's not a ton, so I don't want to do the thing where I'm arguing with one person again because we have a buzzer for that. But I would think, yes, I should have just answered yes. I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you were saying in the very beginning. But I would say that the Cavs probably feel like George is more obtainable, and that's why it's like, okay, you would get a Kevin Love. Like, if you're the Pacers, how much better are you going to do than Kevin Love when everybody else is afraid to trade for Paul George because they aren't sure that they're going to be able to keep him? And the Cavs' trump card on that is, if he comes here and we win, we're in the NBA Finals, and LeBron says, I'm going to stick around for another year or two, why wouldn't George just sign another deal? Why not? Like, right, we don't need you for 5 years, maybe. I mean, we'd like to have you under that control, but it's not as big of a risk for us because we think you're going to like it here.
Coming off after next season, coming off the books, Channing Frye. I mean, Derek Williams is gone. Darren Williams is gone. Kyle Korver comes off these coming months. So does James Jones. There's some money to play around with the cap going up as well. And if you're Indiana, you got Kevin Love. If you're on the Indiana side, you got Kevin Love for 2 years guaranteed. So that's how I view this for Cleveland. It's a chance to show once again to LeBron that you're willing to give him what he wants. And if he wants Paul George, give it to him, because they're going to the finals with Paul George or Kevin Love. Either way, they're going, because the Eastern Conference is just that way right now.
With Randy Scott, Russillo Show, reminding you can listen to all 3 hours of the show on your phone, on your ESPN app, or Apple Podcast. Follow up to what you just said there. Another example or another chance for the Cavs to show LeBron that they're going to spend. I don't think we should talk about sports in this kind of roulette fashion, where I'm trying to think of the right analogy here, and all I can think of is gambling right now.
Do it.
But the Cavs have shown LeBron, even when he was first there, that Dan Gilbert and that, like, they will spend no matter what. Before he left for Miami, it wasn't about not spending for LeBron. LeBron wanted better players, and it was going to work. They figured out a way to get it all done in Miami. Okay, they have the highest payroll again by a wide margin this season. They will always spend. So I don't think if there's one guy that they don't spend on, that LeBron should be able to act as if all these earnings, all this equity ownership is built up with him. They've proven so many different times they're going to spend for him. Like, you don't just, it isn't all zeros because the one time it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? It's like the Kyrie stuff. Like, I think Steph Curry's a better player than Kyrie Irving. He outplayed him for the 3 games into the series, maybe the first 2, okay? I'll even give you game 3, Kyrie, people. Game 4, Steph is bad. So start at game 5, it's like, oh, Steph isn't good now. You're like, so what, games 1 and 2 for Steph and Curry don't exist now?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, it's last year. It's last year's finals rearing its ugly head. The leash is shorter with Steph Curry when he has a bad performance moving forward. Get back to the salary cap thing, because I'd forgotten that Dan Gilbert and company did pay up before LeBron left for Miami, and it kind of
they always bring it up as if they were cheap. They weren't cheap. They were just wrong.
Yeah, this wasn't the Miami Marlins in a fire sale and anything like that from
not
a
even
payroll
close.
perspective. No. So I mean, listen, have they demonstrated it to him? Have they built up that equity? Sure, but I would argue as well, and I don't like sticking up for LeBron, but because I don't think he needs it, quite frankly. But I would argue he's also built up a fair amount of equity, not only by coming back, but by delivering a title. So I'm not getting into the, like, will the fans be upset when he leaves again? Yeah, they will. There'll be a portion of it, but he's earned that right to do that. So to me, he's earned the right, whatever the reason is, to leave if that's what he decides to do, if and when. Because Dave McMenamin says it's a win and not a if proposition with regard to LeBron leaving.
But because he said that, and Jalen Rose has said it, and then Woj wrote about it, that I think it's being treated with much more immediacy. It feels like people are going, okay, well, this is just, it's next year. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I guess the way it looks right now, unless you find a way to put something on paper in front of me that makes sense, seems like a realistic team that you can build, I'm not sure LeBron's just leaving in a year to leave. If he's leaving, it's because some amazing opportunity presented itself. I'm not sure how many opportunities are actually going to be better for him getting to the finals than being with the Cavs 2 years from now.
Are the Clippers getting their own arena? Did I read that right?
Yeah, Inglewood, all good.
Right, up to no good. So that could be the perfect storm that you're talking about. Short-term deal, once again, for LeBron in Cleveland.
But that could be years then.
How many? I mean,
I don't have my building permits in front of me. But can we get a GC on from Inglewood? See what kind of permits we're working with over there? Thank you. All right, up next, Darren Woodson. He's going to talk a little bit about Mayweather and McGregor, but also reminding anyone that has access to YouTube, if you've never seen this fight in its entirety, and it's only going to take up about 12 minutes of your day, it is worth reminding yourself how great this fight was from 30 years ago. With Randy Scott, it's ESPN Radio. Because we had some SportsCenter overlap from a little bit earlier with Randy Scott, no one's mad about it, so don't worry about it. Back off our man, the Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. We had Darren Woodson with you, giving the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. We talked Mayweather-McGregor. Always love talking about other stuff than football. McGregor, Mayweather.
Ugh.
Where are you at with this? Are you going to try to go?
Probably not try to go, but I'm not like everyone else to think, well, it's a it's a carnival and which it probably will be, but everyone, all the boxing guys and I'm a huge boxing fan, and I have a group of guys there's 6 guys at every boxing fight. Like, this week we're going to watch Ward Kovalov at the house.
So that's it. You got your crew.
Got my crew. Right. Every big boxing match, we're watching it. So,
and that's, by the way, that's kind of part of the price.
Yeah, it is.
You're buying something. Like, I know I'm probably wasting my money.
I probably am going to waste my money.
But who cares?
That's exactly where I am. Listen, everyone's like, well, you're an idiot if you buy this. Well, I'm going to be that idiot because I want to tune in to watch it. And I don't care. I mean, we always want to watch the car wreck. There's going to be a car wreck on either side. And more than likely it's going to be on Connor's side. But I want to tune in and watch that. And there's always that 1%. Maybe it's 0.5% that Connor has a shot. And Connor wins. And could you imagine this, Ryan? Could you imagine if Conor McGregor actually won this fight? What about the black eye on boxing? I mean, just because, you know what I mean? Just on
legacy. Yeah, the legacy of boxing.
Oh, my God.
Well, to be 49-1.
Ever.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I don't think Mayweather's the greatest ever, okay?
Like, I mean, but he's by far probably the greatest defensive fighter that there's ever. I mean, he's a technician at what he does.
That is a great statement, okay? When Teddy Atlas calls him a defensive genius.
Absolutely.
And there'll be times when you're sitting there, and I know that, people aren't fans of Mayweather's fights, but when we're talking prime Mayweather, not that it's defensively like he's easy to hit now.
Right.
But I've never seen someone stand so directly in front of their opponent in this small area, and it's just, you're not going to hit me, man. Yeah. You're not going to hit me. So I would watch these Mayweather fights, and I'd be like, make sure I remember to just watch him defensively instead of getting mad about not seeing him open up and start punching people.
It's the art, man. I mean, and again, I'm a football player, but I sit there and watch what he does, especially when you go. It's one thing to watch it on TV, but when you actually go to a fight and see how close these guys are together, and to see how the punches are coming and these guys are moving just in time, counter punching. I mean, that's when you actually get the feel of this is an actual art to what they're doing. And he is. He's like, Picasso, man. He's one of those guys that, he's an artist in the ring as far as what he's able to do. And again, I don't think we appreciate it because he's not that knockout artist. He's not a guy that, is going to end the fight in the first or, early on by a big shot. More than likely, it's going to go 12 rounds in every fight. But if you're a true boxing fan, you appreciate the art of what he's doing.
Darren Woodson in studio. Now, see, here's the thing, though. But you have this look in your eyes. You're talking about McGregor, and we understand the power that he has.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the genius of Mayweather defensively and no one else can hit him, how is it that McGregor's going to hit him?
He probably won't hit him. I mean, look, I don't know.
So that's what you're buying. Part of the price, too, is like, what if this actually happens?
What if? But you still want to see it. You still want to. I don't want to be that guy, the dumb. Can I say this? I don't want to be the dumb that doesn't get the fight.
You're okay. Yeah.
Because you just don't know. I mean, there's always that. I don't want to be the guy that says, I'm going to sit at home and put my foot down.
Hey, I'm going to spend $100 in a far worse way.
If it's $150, I'm getting it. I'm sorry, man. It's just a part of it. I want to see the outcome of this fight, regardless. And it may be the worst fight ever. And just like the Pacquiao fight, I was disappointed at the end of the fight with Mayweather and Pacquiao, but at the same time, I got the fight. And I'm telling you, I would have bought it 100 times. I would have continued to buy the fight. It's just a part of it. I want to watch live what's going to happen.
Now, okay, who was your favorite boxer growing up?
Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard. Those two, however you want to put them. Muhammad Ali.
So how would you, but you're not that much older than me, so Muhammad Ali, so what are we talking about?
Yeah,
you
but
watch
he
him
was
at the
before
end?
me. But yeah, at the end, my father was a big-time fight fan.
Okay.
And Ali was always in the house. I mean, it was always something about Muhammad Ali. Sugar Ray, hey.
So were you just worked? Were you just despondent when he lost to, he beats Hagler. A lot of people think Hagler.
I was a Sugar Ray Leonard fan, and I thought Hagler won that fight. Trust me.
Okay, but that was the thing back then too. Like I remember that fight was the biggest deal. Okay, I think I was about 10 that time.
So I actually remember. Hey, Roberto Duran,
right?
Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Leonard. I mean, hey, listen.
The Hagler Hearns fight. If people are listening to us right now, go YouTube Hagler Hearns right now and tell me you didn't have the best 4 minutes of your life.
And Hearns was a knockout a knockout artist.
Right.
Was Tommy Hearns, and that was the first. Was it 2 rounds? How many rounds did I go? 2, 3 rounds?
I think it was
like
3.
Was it 3 rounds? Yeah. And Hagler finally got to him But yeah, that's when I can go back, man, in boxing, and the crazy thing is I'm the biggest boxing fan. Sugar Ray Leonard was here about 2 months ago, I guess it was.
Yeah,
and he's in the green room, and I picked his brain for a good hour on all his fights. Wilfredo Benitez, back when he was fighting Benitez and Duran and all that, and I'm sure he got tired of talking to me after.
Did he know who you were though?
Probably not.
Come on, see that's the kind of stuff that blows my mind. Like you're Darren Woodson.
I did not care if he knew me or not, man. I needed to talk to him. I saw him in the green room. I walked by and I walked back in, and everyone that was sitting in there, all the the NFL people that were in there were like, "Dude, come on, let him go. Give him a break." And I was like, no, I got to ask him these questions.
Somebody told you to leave?
I'm sure they were looking
Sugar
at
Ray
me
alone.
like,
No.
It was a little over the top, but hey, it is what it is.
By the way, Hagler Hearns was 3 rounds.
3 rounds, yeah.
Called The War. That was 1985. All right, you're the man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro.
That was earlier with Darren Woodson talking fighting. Do you remember Hagler Hearns? Have you seen it?
No, Hagler Hearns was a little past my bedtime at the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I've seen it since, yeah.
You heard of YouTube?
It's good. That's good. So you saved all the sarcastic questions for me. Now that Woodson's out of here, it's just Chuckle Hut at the comedy night at the
Was it going to be somewhere at Chuckle Hut?
I don't know. He seemed like a legit boxing historian, though, Woodson.
No, he was into it.
He knew
it. He was very into it. So,
sorry, I can't be Darren Woodson, Ryan.
Many of us can't. Trust me. I've heard people talk about him that aren't guys, and it's very obvious. Many of us are. As men, we are competing with Darren Woodson. So,
all right.
And that's okay. I can handle that. Proud to share that Mike and Mike has been nominated for the National Radio Hall of Fame, and this vote will be determined by the fans. Vote by text or online at radiovote.com. Text 49400. Send the message 70 for Mike and Mike. Again, text 49400. Send the message 70 to vote for Mike and Mike, or go online at radiovote.com and cast your vote there. One vote is permitted by cell, another one by email address. Voting closes June 19th. Randy has more questions about something we did yesterday called the worst segment.
Yeah.
Well, the worst segment ever was the graphic bar, and it may be accurate or it may be wildly inaccurate. We'll play it for you. That's next to ESPN Radio.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
We tried to get Kellerman on today because he said, and this is really interesting, that Kellerman, well, why don't I just play it? I'm going to play the Kellerman sound for you, all right? Okay?
Sure, yeah.
So we didn't get him on because he's probably been asked to do a million things. He's out covering another fight, Kovalev Ward, this weekend. So those are also part of his duties. But he had this to say about Mayweather-McGregor.
I can tell you how the fight will go. Floyd will dance on him early. He will give everyone a show. If McGregor doesn't tackle him and take him to the mat and then security jumps in, Floyd will knock him out as he pleases. The reason Floyd doesn't score as many knockouts as others do, or as some other top fighters do, is because he's not a huge puncher and he's facing other experienced boxers. When people say, well, McGregor has a good chin, you know who has a good chin? People who don't get hit on the chin. Floyd will be able to hit McGregor whenever and wherever he pleases. McGregor will not be able to touch Floyd.
Okay, so that happened, and Brennan Schaub, who's done some MMA analyst work with us here and is a fighter as well, also went at Kellerman after this clip came out and said, quote, "Let me tell you something, Kellerman. I guarantee," that's all caps, so you know you're not messing around, "Conor will not only land a punch but win rounds. I'd bet 100,000 on it. You game." 100 G's. I know First Take pays well, but that's still big boy money right there. The thing that's a problem with that is you go, okay, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Are we doing he lands a punch, I owe you $100,000 because that doesn't seem like a lot of fun.
Right. No, it's got to be winning rounds, right? I mean, I think it's hyperbole. It's hyperbolic to say that McGregor won't land a punch, let alone many punches, to necessitate an entire round.
Well said. Very well said. Gun rack. So if you can't take that back because then it's going to be how many rounds? How many rounds?
How many rounds does it go? I mean, really?
Well, it could go all of them.
Is he going to do? Because I'm of the opinion Floyd could have ended Pacquiao whenever he wanted, and he put on the show, he let it go. He knew he was going to win. Probably knew Pacquiao was hurt. Not insinuating anything, just
his shoulder,
putting that out there.
Shoulder injury that we learned about afterwards.
Maybe he could tell during the fight, but you know what I mean? It's up to Floyd how long this goes, unless he gets stupid and he leaves his chin out there, and McGregor's faster than we thought, and southpaws really do give Floyd a problem, like everybody seems to say. Although how big of a problem could it be for a guy's 49-0, really? So, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's how long Floyd wants it to go. And so if that's the case, then maybe McGregor wins one round.
$100,000. I got to know more details on this. We got to get Kellerman next week and ask him, because what if Brennan's saying he wins 4 rounds? I might bet him $100,000.
Call Zurich, move some money around.
We're going to have to get out of these holdings. We're going to take the Whole Foods profit. We're going to transfer that over. Some
Whole Foods jokes on Twitter. The new 3-1 lead jokes.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
People making Whole Foods jokes today on Twitter? I honestly had no idea. They were bought by Amazon, for those that don't know. Yeah. That was your financial update here on the Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. I'm trading what, $42 a share right now? Mikey, can you check on that stock price?
I think
Whole Foods?
Amazon's 34. I don't know about Whole Foods.
I never even heard of Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. You've never heard of Whole Foods?
Look at me. I'm like a hungry man guy, you know.
Wait, time out. Time the bleep out. You've never heard of Whole Foods, or are you just doing this?
I've definitely never been there. I know what it is. It's a healthcare place or a health food place, right?
No, healthcare. You were on.
No.
Healthcare.
Yes, it's a great place for gauze and braces.
Yep. Cough drops. Echinacea. Ginkgo biloba.
How many more you got?
That's all.
Okay. We'll keep you up to date right here on whether or not anybody bets somebody else $100,000 on that fight in June. Randy Scott in studio, Russillo Show, ESPN Radio. So do we have the longer version of this? Because I know you have questions. We're going to try to give you answers. We really put this off the entire show. We should have done it earlier, but we had great LeBron info for you. If you want to hear about the LeBron stuff we were talking about at the top of the show, check out the podcast, subscribe at Russillo Show, rate it, leave a review. But we have... from the Barstool guys yesterday, you wanted to come by and say hi, and you didn't because you got, what, scared of them?
I brought Tony Collins over here as my sort of entree into this.
Tony is a huge fan of mine.
Well, I brought her over. I was like, hey, let's go meet the Pardon My Take guys. She's like, yeah, that's great. But you guys had somebody in studio who looked important, and you looked like you might be in the middle of practicing something, or I don't know. It just looked a lot of
practice, yeah.
It looked like bad timing. And plus, that room, the control room, was packed.
Packed with people.
That was as loaded of a sardine can as I've seen since
Jovi.
Since I've been over here.
Yeah, since Bon Jovi came by.
Sure.
So we called it the worst segment. We were trying to do the longest segment we could without actually saying anything remotely interesting, and it definitely worked.
A guy like LeBron, maybe he loses the finals, but he knows that at the end of the day, he's got a family that loves him, and that's the most important part in sports.
That's true, but whenever I think about LeBron, I go, I know how good he is, but I wonder, there's a difference between taking the shot and wanting to take the shot, and that's Kobe.
Yeah.
Now, with LeBron, it's like, yeah, he's great, but is he the GOAT? And that's something that I think we need to think about when we talk about his legacy.
Right.
Is his legacy the all-time best, or is his legacy the all-time good?
Well, I'm going to weigh in on this right here, and I'm going to say I know a lot of people talking about MJ versus LeBron.
That's come up.
If I had to give you my final answer, I'd say MJ is more talented than LeBron. LeBron is more skilled than MJ.
Mm-hmm. You know, at the end of the day.
True.
Yep.
Let's talk football then. Now, speaking of, because
yes. Keys to the game.
The keys of the game. Let's start with the Pats, because this is quite the run.
Uh-huh.
But if you're going to beat them, and I don't understand why more teams don't do this, you got to get to Brady.
Yeah. Are they a dynasty? Ooh. Or are they a series of 3 dynasties?
Has the definition of dynasty changed in modern times?
There's so much to unpack. I wrote out some questions. First, what was the thing that made you legit laugh the most? Was it the GOAT line?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about PFT, but when he said the thing about, is he the GOAT? And he said it in such a sincere way as if no one has ever asked that question before. Like, he's borderline an actor, man. Yeah. I mean, it was just perfect. And all of us, we had planned this. So I called Big Cat the night before. I go, I've been workshopping this idea. I want to do an entire segment. Originally, Stu Gatz was the one that I thought I was going to do it with. I wanted to do 8 minutes, he and I going back and forth, saying just the lamest, non-takey stuff ever. Because like sometimes I get bummed out when I hear people talk about that. I go, do you just want to do the job and never say anything interesting? Because you're killing it.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to actually try to do it for an entire.
So mission accomplished.
Yeah. So could I do it and no one crack? And I called Big Cat. And Big Cat's like, he's like, I can't believe you said that. He goes, we've been thinking about trying to do this. We want to do it too. And I was like, oh, so what do you like? Because I didn't want you to steal it now. And he's like, no. He's like, we'd already thought of this. And then they're doing this thing where they're trying to come up with the most non-interactive tweet of all time. Like
Yeah,
what resonates the least.
It's the least interaction. Yeah.
And they came up with Adam Sandler's last movie was okay. Just no retweets, no likes, no one even comments on it. So we tried to do that for the entire segment, and it actually worked. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's fine. I wanted to come over and meet PFT because he's a Caps fan. His line about Pittsburgh,
DMV,
his little jab at Pittsburgh, like was it like dating your mom or something like that?
I don't remember. I love Pittsburgh.
It was a great line. Okay, were you really mad at the intern?
No, I was annoyed he almost ran me over trying to bring Red Bulls in,
Yeah.
but I wasn't. I just kind of started cranking it up a little bit, and then what ends up happening is that then their producer like started giving me a hard time. He gave me a D. He graded me gave B and B plus to those two guys, and then D.
Yeah,
right. And totally comfortable sitting in the studio, being like, Russillo, you're a D.
Home cooking. Was he actually handsome?
The intern?
No, the guy isn't nicknamed Handsome Hank or Henry.
I thought he was pretty hot if you were hammered.
Okay,
but he's kind of that like if you were drunk, you'd be like, God, this guy's so hot.
How uncomfortable.
And where if you were sober, you'd be like, oh, he's not as hot as I thought he was.
What was more uncomfortable, Ravel or Schefter?
Ravel times a billion, because I actually wanted to end the interview about 2 minutes earlier because it got almost kind of nasty, and I don't think Ravel was really enjoying it. I can't believe Ravel's he's co-hosting with me the entire Monday. I'm excited about it. We're already talking about guests. But every time Ravel comes on this show, these are the 3 times Ravel has ever come on the show. He comes on and the Barstool guys call him a nerd and hold up nerd talking signs and crush him.
Mm-hmm.
The other time we had him to come on to defend himself as a finalist, as one of the worst Twitter follows at ESPN. He made the Final Four. And the other time we talked about paying student athletes, and Billis just talked over him the entire time and wouldn't let Ravel talk. And it was a 4-way conversation. It was supposed to be, and it was basically Billis just talking the whole time, and Ravel like gave up. And I think he may even just put it on mute.
Was Ravel in studio for that, or was that one of those famous, like, because his setup at his house, aesthetically, aces, but technically there's such a delay where Billis probably had him beat.
Right. Billis was on the phone. Danny and I were in studio. Ravel was in the Glow Point home studio.
That's it.
And he got absolutely worked. And the thing is, when Billis is going to make his point, like he's going to make your point, and you're going to have to sit there.
He played. You didn't.
Right. They're usually really good points, too, so I'm not like knocking Billis here. So Ravel's like, yeah, 3 hours, sign me up. Can't wait to do it Monday.
Here we go.
Any other questions?
Yeah, a lot more, but we got a break.
Okay. All right. I asked a boxer from South Africa how much he loved Dave Matthews, and he had no idea I was talking to him. That'll be previously. ESPN Radio. Today was Randy Scott request to have Tupac be part of every rejoin, although we did come back with little Dave, didn't we?
In Digital Underground, which was nice.
Did you ever even listen to Sex Packets? Russillo Show, Randy Scott.
Yes.
Did you listen to Sex Packets start to finish?
Yeah.
Packet Man?
Recently?
If I get another VCR, I'm going to hurt somebody.
Right? Stands up in 2017.
Danger Zone? I'm going to listen to Digital Underground Sex Packets today at the gym. What's up?
Tell me how many Tupac verses are in that when you're bumping it. Tell me, just no. When you do it, like do it at the gym.
Is there one?
Maybe.
Mikey C, can you Google that for me?
I'll figure it out.
Oh, by the way, Stu Gatz. Who do you think's more famous, me or Stu Gatz? You guys do that on your weekend show a lot?
Yeah, we do. And it's pretty close, but I think you actually do edge him out.
You think it's close, huh?
Well, I'm basing it on when I had you on my podcast and when I had him on the Outsider podcast. You got me more downloads.
I think it actually is close. You know, I like messing with you. But I know that's like one of your topics. Do you guys do that every day? Is that 2 hours of that every Sunday? Who's more famous?
Pretty much. We've done, best looking guys, at ESPN. Max Bretto's, He came in strong in that.
Wait, now Max Bretos wins that? Now?
Randy Scott, not a fan of Max Bretos' looks currently.
Huge fan of Max's looks. My mom, when my mom came to visit the first time, walked around, she gave me who is that? She gave me one of those.
Isn't it the worst when your mom thinks somebody you know is hot?
My mom met Kevin Connors. His wife had just had their baby, named after a former Republican president. Not for that reason, but shared the same name. And my mom's response was, "Oh, not after the president, right?" She just met Kevin Connors.
So your mom just lets it fly.
She just shoots from the hip. Shoots from the hip. She was a maverick.
A job well done by your mom when she comes up here. Job well done is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With quality parts and know-how, Napa Auto Parts can help you keep your ride running longer, stronger. That's Napa know-how. That read's not going to work. That one's not going to play. We're going to have to do that one again. Okay. Sorry. All right. Here is previously when we had, his name is The Heat, Chris Van Heerden, former champ at the welterweight level, WBA, ranked 11th, and he's from Johannesburg, South Africa. So we asked him about his native land.
Previously on the Ryen Russillo Show.
And I'm calling out Lamont Peterson for the WBA welterweight title of the world. I'm rated number 11. I mean, if you're sitting on the couch, if you're scared of number 11, then you just got to stay on the couch.
Yeah, let's do this. Before we say goodbye, you're from South Africa, so Dave Matthews, you must really like him.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. South Africa, and absolutely, man.
You timed the dead silence at how many seconds?
5. That's an eternity.
5 full seconds. How long do you have to be silent before the auto affiliates pick up and start running?
6, isn't it?
Is it were we flirting with that?
No, it's 10.
It's 10.
Oh, I thought we thought it was 7.
Halfway there.
We were halfway there to a computer program shutting off everything through the entire country, just for the joke.
But that's commitment to the joke, though. You know, that's street cred in the stand-up community.
The third time I've heard it now, he has absolutely no clue what we're talking about. None. He just says South Africa and laughs a couple times.
Absolutely, man, or whatever.
Yeah, man.
He agrees with you wholeheartily.
South Africa.
Yeah.
And that may seem like we're not. I figured, I don't know, we'd have a little fun. I had another minute. Didn't have anywhere else to go. I thought it was the right call. And by the way, job well done by the crew turning that around. Job well done is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With quality parts and know-how, Napa Auto Parts can help you keep your ride running longer, stronger. That's Napa know-how. The Russillo Show reminding you if you miss any of the show, including why the Cavs will have LeBron maybe a little bit longer than you're reading currently and go after Paul George, you can subscribe to our Best of Podcasts available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app or on Apple Podcasts.
So today, Tupac's birthday would have been 46. Where does he sit with you, greatest MCs of all time?
Legacy?
Legacy update.
I don't have him in my 5, but he's right there. I don't want to turn this into I'm not in a Tupac because I loved him just like everybody else that loved hip-hop that's about our age. But there's still a few people I have ahead of him.
Were you driving around in high school?
Yes. Oh, college, actually.
College, bumping the CD.
Monster Truck, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
And I liked Are You Still Down?
Hellraiser, sneaky good.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Listen to Tupac.